My mother just told me that the person of the group that recorded Turning Japanese, you know, Turning Japanese, was a fucking liar. Can you believe that? Can you believe it?
All right, we all welcome back to We Are the Fall. I'm Gavin,
And I'm Steve.
and this week we got a little special treat because usually this is kind of the stuff we dive into on the Patreon, which is a little bit more of the deeper cuts, and especially what we're getting into today, which is the demos and the rarities album or compilation bootleg album for the fall. And this is just going to be a bunch of demos and rarities or album outtakes that we're going to get into. And we're going to pick maybe just like a handful from this compilation that we find interesting. And I guess the way we came to find this thing is on some episode or maybe multiple episodes, I'm sure. I was asking about finding more fall demos, and I wanted to hear these things because I think they're really maybe would shine a light into their songwriting process and see if anything changed along the ways from demo version to album version. And even Steve, do you remember like we've talked when we were talking to Martin Brahma, we were asking him about demos and we didn't really get much. And then we were asking Dave Bush about the demos because we heard that was the time where the fall was actually getting some time to write a little bit before they went into the studio. And Dave had the technology and the technology knowledge to make the demos. And even he was kind of like, yeah, we did that, but I don't really know what they did before before I was doing it this way. So we're getting into some of these demos. What were you thinking about maybe what you thought we would hear and what came out of it?
Was thinking it was gonna be a lot of music, considering that's just what I imagine is them playing a lot more instruments and Mark not being around, which was the case, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, for the most part. Um, yeah, it wasn't much of Mark practicing, I don't think.
No.
I feel like he kind of did his job and called it a day versus trying out different techniques or styles or how am I gonna do this or that or work this or that. I think he used the stage for that for the most part.
Don't you honestly feel like the whatever these demos are, and I gotta say, like I was really excited when a fellow Fallhead was able to provide us a copy of this bootleg album, and it's just called The Fall Demos and Outtakes, and it's from around, I guess it was compiled in around 2002. Is that right? I think that is about the time. And our good fellow Fallhead, known as PP Heckhole, was able to secure us a copy, and
P
that's what we got to go off of.
PP soaked heckle.
Okay, PP soaked tech hole. Sorry, PP. But we do appreciate it, and we do know that he is a fellow fall head. So, let's just go through some of these tracks and talk about them. But before we do, I just gotta say, the demos. I was really interested about the demos and maybe seeing if maybe Mark did use them to his advantage as far as swapping out lyrics and things like that. But we're going to find out there's a lot on here that's really interesting and engaging, but a lot of it is musical. and not so much what Mark is doing. It's kind of interesting because Mark might have there's a couple tracks on here that are like almost all instrumental besides a couple words. Mark says, did you catch some of those? And
Yeah.
Mark just saying a couple words, and it almost was like the demo was made for Mark to just listen to and write along with, but he never had any intention of like putting words down. And unless it was a studio final cut setting. But my question to you, Steve, is they had so many alternate versions from the studio sessions. It just makes me think like, was that their demoing? Was that like making a bunch of versions of the same song to see which one is the best for the album? Maybe that was their demo process just in the studio. They didn't have like an outside demo process besides band practice, and they weren't recording that.
Yeah, I think not recording band practice, and then I think just playing the songs live before they were recorded, and seeing what was worthwhile and what wasn't.
Yeah.
Having the live studio audience really judge your material here or there, or see how the lyrics, played either with the room or how Mark could deliver them the best way, and then he might change them up later before they actually recorded it.
Yeah.
I mean, or
Yeah.
even like
Mhm.
Peel sessions. I mean, they weren't that different lyrically ever, but
No.
certainly excitement wise, they were different.
Yeah. Performance wise, maybe that's what it was. Like the demo thing didn't really intrigue them because honestly, maybe this is the thing. Because I don't think they did a lot of demoing at all besides Mark talking into his recorder and then bring it to the band and then them working on it. The recording thing, it never really seemed to interest them. They never really manipulated if unless you want to talk about Dave Bush era, like even like Bonkers and Phoenix and things like that, which we're gonna get into on here. There is a Bonkers and Phoenix demo, which is going to be very, very intriguing. But I don't think their ideas and their band process really involved the recording prior to the real actual recording. And I gotta say, I think it kind of if we are kind of taking the LPs in full as a piece of evidence, a lot of the LPs after, whatever you want to put your cutoff point, they don't hit that hard because the band is not really honestly that good in the studio. They honestly some dynamic is missing or it's overthought or it's over sterilized. Something that doesn't happen in the BBC, but maybe that's because they're mostly like hands off. They just record and then they're done,
Yeah, I mean,
perform like a show,
it didn't seem like they liked their producers all that much, and
which is weird too. Yeah.
didn't really want to play along with them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, let's re-record that. Let's do it differently in this way. It'll sound a lot better. No, we're good. Like,
Yes.
we got it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, what about adding effects to something, anything? No,
Hmm.
that's just that straight is better.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into this. The fall demos and outtakes from around 2002. There is it spans from 1981, the first song, and I'm just going to go through the track list because we're going to just pick and choose off here a little choice cuts that we think are interesting to chat about and also to listen to in full. And that's what we're going to do on this episode. So sit back and enjoy yourselves because I think you got to really listen to the full songs and really kind of gauge what are these subtle nuanced differences that actually make some of these songs even maybe more intriguing. But we start with Live Dream of the Casino Soul, 1981 demo. Then we have Neighborhood of Infinity, 1983 demo. Creep or CREEP 1983 demo, Hey Mark Riley demo, Whiz Bang, Peel Session, Not Broadcast song, which we have covered before, Simon's Dream 1990 demo, Middle Class Revolt, two versions that I'm hoping maybe I don't know what Steve picked, but I have some picks, and I hope that we don't overlap too much. But I hope one of us picked some middle class revolt mix. There's two different mixes here that would be interesting to talk about. Bonkers in Phoenix demo, Chisler's demo, Ballad of Jay Drummer, Horror and Clay, which is a post Nearly Man demo from 1998. We also have Nev's Country, which is aka Hot Ruins 2000 demo, Rubber, Weirdo, and Iodio, which is basically Green Eyed Loco Man demo, and then Dramatic from Country on the Click, an outtake, and then we end with a 1983 Marky Smith interview, which is about 10, 11 minutes long, which is equally intriguing. So, if you're interested in listening to this in full, maybe go over to the We Are the Fall Patreon and jump on there, and we might be able to figure out a way to give you a listen to the full thing because it is totally, totally worthwhile for ball heads that want to go deep. So, Steve, let's get into some of these demos and outtakes. What are you feeling? We should start off with maybe one of your favorite
Yeah,
tracks.
I'm just gonna put you guys all on hold here, and just sit quietly and listen to this beautiful keyboard hold music that we're about to play in CREEP.
All right, Steve, what is this demo all about to your eardrums?
I mean, I just want my local internet provider to have this as their hold music. I mean, sometimes you call, you're trying to get your bill lowered, and you're just not having a good time. But if that was playing, I would just be chilling out. It's good. Bopping in my seat, having a good time.
Yeah,
That little I don't know, just fun to kind of hear. I don't know,
yep.
you know, if that was first, if the rest of the song was first, but you know,
Uh-huh.
I like to think they came into the studio with this, you know, hey, look what I did over the weekend. Um, and
Mm,
then, you know, I think it's Paul Hanley. They didn't
mm.
ha they didn't have a keyboardist. I mean, though
Paul has been known for those keys, though. Yeah, I
this
don't
says
know.
what does it say? It says 1983. So I mean, yeah, that's who was playing keys on Perverted by Language and Wonderful Frightening World of the Fall, which is a bonus track off that album.
No, it's funny because we're so deep now into the discography that 1983 just seems like I mean, this song and that type of, you know, Poppy John, that does not seem like 1983 for me. Why does that sound like late 1980s, like fall more so,
I
right? I
I
know
was
it's the Mark Riley, thing, but
I was so happy to hear some of these old songs again because
yes.
I have not gone back
Oh,
and listened, and I was like, oh man, these are so good. Like
yeah, yeah.
I haven't burnt it out of my brain yet. This is great. I'm gonna someday I can go back and start from the beginning all over again.
That's right. That's right. No, that's right. Yeah. I mean, I'm also because we have to immerse ourselves so hard for the albums we're like about to cover. We don't really get to go, it kind of honestly, if we're speaking frank, I'm frank. The if you go back and listen to some of those, early 80s, late 70s fall cuts, you kind of ruin the by comparison, just by putting it next to it, even in your like day listening, it just kind of ruins where it's at, and it kind of tinges what you're listening to currently from the band where we're at currently. And it's not really fair. I don't think it's a fair thing, but that's why I have also, I definitely will throw on Dragnet. I'll definitely throw on Grotesque and Hex Induction Hour, but they are by themselves. And then pretty much that's my day of the fall. Like I can't listen to any other fall. I don't
no,
know how you
yeah.
feel.
I know, I agree. Yeah, it's like, every once in a while you're streaming it and something else pops up at the end of it and you're like, you didn't realize it jumped back to,
Yeah. It marks time
something.
machine back.
Uh-huh. And I mean, that's like even our rating system. You're like, I'm not rating it versus anything else. I'm just rating
No,
that experience straight up.
current
How did
experience
you feel?
in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like, oh, is this the best album? No, it's not that. It's like, what do you feel when you had that experience?
I do get the weight, the phone hold music um dynamic of that because it is so simple and circular, and then it has that 1980s tape hiss on there, which is beautiful with that, which could have done some good for the real version they did.
Yeah.
And it also makes you think about like how different fall songs would sound without melodic choices, right? Like Brick singing CREEP, over and over and over again. Without it, sometimes is kind of interesting to just like switch your brain into a different gear. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and even like hearing the simplicity of the keys, you're like, there's not much in the keys when you listen to the song, but you're like, oh, it
Hmm.
really is what kind of drives everything else forward and lets you
Yeah.
kind of move around a little bit, have a little bit more space to move around with the other instruments and the lyrics and things like that.
And can't you just picture Mark listening to a tape of this demo and like writing at a table and like saying like this is such a like a little, yeah, like this seems like it's right up Mark's alley of like a little pop nugget, and him to be like, now I'm gonna put some like very cutting words to this, right?
Yeah,
Like he's like it's so poppy.
it's so poppy. It's so kind of jaunty. Like it's got the little
Uh-huh. Hmm.
puts a little bump. He takes a little bump and is just kind of
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
feeling this groove, just
Yep.
bumping, lift
Hmm.
him up, lift him up. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Here we
Totally,
go.
totally. So let's continue down the same track. We're gonna jump ahead a little bit to 1990, and we're gonna listen to the 1990 demo of called Simon's Dream, which we know is not called that as it moves forward. But let's listen to Simon's Dream.
Just ain't it still? this him from the side dream. MES shouts at him. MES next to the him. His boss lets them hear from his side dream. From the cauldron of his love, baby. His boss lets at him. His boss shouts at him. His boss hangs at him. His boss shouts at him.
So I really love that one for a lot of different reasons. Mainly just hearing that song with it being guitar and drum centric and without the machines and extra textures, it really is like a good, I mean, it's all there, right? Like the main version of the song is there, but then it's like, but then also having the dynamic of Funky Cy and then his boss, Marky Smith, lecturing him. Um, I definitely understand why Mark eventually wanted to change that a little bit, to make it less direct, but a couple of times on this compilation, you hear the violin too on the demos, and the
Yeah, I think
violin
it's Kenny Brady on the fiddle.
on the fiddle. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think is it Whiz Bang where he tears it up too? I mean,
yeah, and
yeah,
and
both.
it's they're both really good, right? Because
Yeah,
it's like he's figuring out the part, and I think even on Whiz Bang and maybe at Chislers, there's another violin on this compilation, but you hear them playing and they're figuring out the part and there's like wrong notes in there and it almost adds to it the feel. It's almost more fall like than like we're talking about them getting in the studio and maybe like getting a definitive version that they think, which is kind of cutting out all the missteps. And this is really fun in that regard. um yeah, even Mark's delivery is pretty much spot on to the Aradale's dream. It's a final cut, but what do you think about Simon's Dream?
yeah, I liked hearing Mark on it. I mean, it's almost like it's less a demo and just a be like a no, we didn't like that. Like, they recorded it fully and
Alternate
then the
version.
alternate version, right? Like
Yeah.
they didn't demo it. They just said, yeah, let's not do it that way.
Yeah. 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 And that's from 1990. And then they had a little kind of reconfiguration of it and personnel. And yeah, but the drums are sounding great. Everything's sounding cool. I was also surprised that a lot of these demos, they're they're more or less sounding really full and really good. Like there's very few on here that are just like straight up um home demos that are just basically unusable. Like any of a lot of all of these, that's kind of what I was surprised about by is that their demos were almost like the fully formed things. There's not like a lot of like piloting things, piloting ideas.
Yeah, it just kind of you just kind of goes back to the question of were they actually doing recording demos in the band space, right? Like
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like they were ever really going to tape with any of this stuff, like straight from the amps or anything like that. It seems like it
Yeah.
may have just been some extra studio time practice or pre official recording sort of stuff. Like,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
we got two versions. Let's play them both and decide which one we want to actually record here.
Yep. And that might have been the fun part where it was like we got like a preliminary cut of it. Now in the studio, let's do the real cut. And that's when Mark switches up a couple words, right? Or a
Mhm.
couple phrases to
Or
make
just
it
yeah, how
better.
the delivery happens, right? Okay, I'll
Hmm.
go faster there, I'll go quieter, I'll
Yeah.
oh, let me jam a second mic into my mouth for this part.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to some place completely different. And what do we got next, Steve?
We're gonna experience some middle class revolt EDM versions and some dub remix. If you like to be in the club, you may have heard these before. If you're
Yeah.
like Gavin or you know, I didn't
Per-
like it. My favorite was Seven, the Prozac mix. I must have needed a little bit of a downer.
Mm.
But I was like, man, this is 7 minutes long, and I don't really think I'm gonna handle it. But I did, and I finished it, and by the end, I was happy. I felt good. Minimal fall feelings, minimal mark, but I don't know, something about it did it for me.
It hit your bloodstream and then it hit your brain cells and then it just got a little juice to the brain cells and it kind of kicked in. Well, okay, let's listen to a little bit of this middle class revolt Prozac mix.
Put it down.
see your DJ skills. Can you fade perfectly into the orange in the mouth mix?
All right, let's go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect crossfade. Let's see. Let's
Okay.
see.
Let's get into the middle class revolt orange in the mouth mix.
Use your knobs. Fade it perfectly. No delay.
I'm just gonna use my Dave Bush little finger technology. Yeah, I think I'm with you on the experience of listening to these, because it sounds like you were listening to these and then, you listen to them a couple times and you're like, probably like me, I was like, okay, I get what this is. This is the dance club. It even says drum club remix. And then after a couple listens, though, I was kind of like, man, wouldn't it have been so fucking cool to have Mark's voice on some of these versions?
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been so cool. It would have been so different, like completely different. Um, or maybe my wife's dosing my coffee with the ecstasy to make me a better person. It just kicked in perfectly in time, and I was like, oh, it's very much hitting now.
Yeah, I'm not a EDM dance guy. The sampling and the adding things. I mean, I haven't really given it the time of day, but overall, I don't ever think it's really going to be for me. But those two were fun. If you got 14 minutes of your day, just play them back to back and see where it takes you. That
I
orange in the mouth.
honestly, yeah,
Orange in the mouth definitely starts off like you're about to you just dropped a big tab of something and you're going underwater to go into the Avatar world or something.
I really think both of those are really great driving songs. Like if you're driving someplace throw those babies on and
Yeah.
and cruise
And,
down the road.
and that's what I was doing. I was driving home from work and Prozac mix got me home.
Yes. In a good mood. The orange in the mouth mix, which we just listened to, that one is my favorite because I think there's something about that mix. It just reminds me of like being played behind or along with like a Windows 95 screensaver, like a very, very, you know, bad early digital like 3D rendering of going through rooms or going through a 3D digital space that's not well rendered. And it's almost like video game-esque too, I think in a lot of ways, like video game wait screen, loading screen, and it has a nice rounded off to edge to it. And I don't know, it's just cool. And then I just wish there was more Mark on there. I know why he probably heard these and was like, nope, we're not going that route. We're not, we're definitely not going that route. We already got the machines, but I want the machines to be abrasive. And neither of these are really abrasive. They're very much like Clubhouse mix.
Very minimal middle class revolt emotions coming out of either of them.
Yeah, yeah. There's not really the middle class revolt dynamic going on there. Actually, that's more of the middle class get together, middle class kind of party scene. Let's just jump ahead 1 year, and let's get into one that might be the one of the most intriguing of the bunch for us to chat about. And this is Bonkers in Phoenix, the 1994 demo.
Bonkers at Phoenix. Bonkers at Phoenix.
Well, Steve, that one raises a lot of questions for me because when I listened to that, I was like, I let me go back and listen to the original and or the album version, and I went back and forth and listened to both back to back multiple times. And I will say, if you really want to put yourself in a deep, deep fall head space, doing 40 minutes of that back and forth A/B comparison, you are gonna have an experience. But know what I was surprised about is with this one that they always said they like really fucked up, Brix's song, but we got the demo here. We got the
Yeah.
demo here, and the demo has her pitch modulated vocals, and it has a little bit of extra kind of fucked up little things. Not obviously not as much as the album version, which is like completely mixed, like off the wall as far as putting that shit right in the front where it's like completely an experimental track. But I was so surprised that I just thought that the original would have been Brick singing in normal organic way that she sings, and with a chimey guitar, which you kind of get, but it's a little bit distorted here, but and or jangly guitar, and it's not that. It's very, very close to the album version, just with less of the machine. What Dave Bush says, he just, heavily added a lot of textures and a lot of sound effects. What did you hear?
I mean, the pitch is almost unlistenable. It is so abrasive in your ears, like that. Like I would, yeah. It sounds. She sounds good, I guess, but like whatever effect she has on, and like the pitch and the high notes and the minimal. I don't know. I like it a lot. I listened to it a couple times. I also listened to the real, to the album version, and I was like, huh. But it hurts your ears to listen to this too many times in a row.
I honestly thought after I first listened to it, I said, did they, because her voice it's the exact same effect. Um, I said, did they just take this and put it in the final version and just put all that other stuff on top of it, and then they were done? Because I thought it was so close. Like I thought it was so
Yeah.
close. But then after I listened to the album version, I realized no, they did use the same effect, but then it does modulate her voice at different times in different ways. So they definitely did it differently. They definitely did another take of this in the studio. That was that maybe this was a one take of it and they had that effect on there already and then they did another one. I don't know. I kind of like this version where I get to hear what is going on in the song. It's obviously uh too long at 6 minutes and 14 seconds, that's for sure. But I think it is more I don't know, it's definitely more accessible in this format. It's cool to hear it. It's cool to hear the the layers that are not obscured by other just kind of noise and distortion just to get you off of it. It almost makes me think of like a reverse auto tune. Like it's not like how everyone uses auto tune in this modern era of music, and that was Mark and the band and maybe Brix's choice too to make it weird because it was such a straightforward song. They just put that on there and it does. It immediately makes it totally in the fall territory.
Yeah, it's just got dog whistle vibes for me, where like there's something playing in it that like is this like pitching in my ear that I'm just
Mm,
like, what is going on? Like I like
yeah.
it. She sounds pretty. It's they're pretty. The lyrics are, you're like, huh,
Yeah.
what's going on with this little kid? Um, yeah, it's dog whistle for me.
They're trying to do, I mean, she's trying to sing about the little one, little one, and it's gonna be all right. But it's they want to make it where it's kind of creepy, and that effect doesn't do that. It just makes it kind of bizarre, which is just bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's kind of got that sugar coating that Brooks wants to put on it. Some of her, personal albums, and you're just
It's
like,
like a
yeah, it's
nighttime
not.
ballad, right? It's like
Uh-huh.
a
Yeah.
nighttime ballad. Little baby, don't cry, the rock in the cradle, but then it's a digitally manipulated female presence in the room rocking the baby, which is like almost like the caretaker, robot caretaker, which is cool. That is actually cool. Um, what do we got up next, Steve? What's a pick? What do you pull off of this?
Rubber from the Unutterable 2000 outtake. We're blasting into the future here, folks. I feel like we're into real kind of demo world here
Mm,
versus probably first eight. We're just kind of like, okay, these are just, I don't want to say alternate versions, but not necessarily a work in progress. Where I think the back half of this
huh.
bootleg is more actual demo, trying things out. This is in 2000, so I mean they have 15 tracks on this album. This isn't nowhere. It's not like it's just something that didn't work out, or at least didn't get turned into something else, or may
Yeah.
have gotten turned into something else.
Yeah. Yeah. That was I was picking up on that too, that dynamic. Because the first half of this compilation is, I'm guessing, just all of the things that could be found or accessed. And it's basically a scatter shot where it's like 4 or 5 years in between each one, a lot of the times. And then suddenly at the end of it, it's a bunch of, like you're saying, out studio outtakes and demos in the 2000s where it just says they were doing more, maybe they had more going, they had more songs that were not making the album, and they weren't like Hit the North version 7. They were actually different songs, and they were different songs that just didn't get finished. Like that one just sounds like a song that would have been a great fall
You
song if it got something added to it.
you think you would have had that over pumpkin soup and mashed potatoes?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, like, yeah, they're all like good rock, like
Yeah.
awesome instrumental, like, yeah, you could do
Yes.
something. You got something there. Why don't you do something more?
And now let's go into a track from the same era from 2000, a song that would basically become Hot Runes, but it's called Nev's Country. And let's listen to this one because this one is a particular favorite of mine in this form.
But ever empowerates. It's not the bus laden that'll put you down, or even keep you awake. It's the gas work of corporates. Alan Brazil and Hatton on about discipline for all post office workers are those who sit alone, involved in hyperbole about the trash who sits in land. Checklist. The promises they gave are casual. Used that before. They've turned all sitters into animal pens. Verse.
Okay, like something like that. It reminds me of like something that could be on Dragnet, and it's so good in this format of stripped back, stripped down. I think the final version has a gang vocal of the band singing on it, and I don't think it's needed as is evidenced here. For my ears at least, I think simpler is better, and it's just hits way better. It's just guitar, bass, drums, and a little bit of a droning little synth in the background, which is basically the key fall formula to a good song.
I think listening to all of these where there's a lot of static, just kind of the
Mm,
background hiss, and it's good on a lot of tracks. I think
yeah,
they
yep,
could have
yep.
they could have used that just as a little blending tool for some of their
Mm,
studio albums. Like just a little, just mixes, just mellows everything, mixes it together. I didn't get
yes.
a chance to go back and listen to Hot Runes. It hasn't been that long since we did it, but yeah, that's got a nice. It's not twangy like country, but it's got that kind of the country
Hmm.
shaking your knee on the front porch sort of feeling.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does a lot. And it's like it's a 2 minute song and it's just fucking great. It's fucking great and that's kind of what I was thinking and what would be the demos, but we get what we get. And Steve, what do you want to pick out next?
I mean,
Got a couple left.
we got two, three left. I mean, me and you are a bunch of weirdos, so let's listen to that one.
Okay, Weirdo from Unutterable, a 2000 outtake. Oh yeah. Just add some Mark vocals to that and call it a day.
I mean, this is the era where Mark finally lets them start using pedals, and I am just so happy.
I mean, this is one where I'm like, I mean, we had a little fun jaunt into the what was it, Grotesque Rescue, the Marky Smith mashup with the Rolling Stones album on Patreon. We covered, which was a nice little fun little, I don't know, little thing. But like, don't be putting AI Mark E. Smith on anything going forward. Like, I'm not a proponent of that. Just imagine it. Just imagine it and just enjoy it because that's kind of what I'm getting out of that one. That's yeah.
Playing both at the same time.
Yeah, play two tracks at the same time. You'll find something that mashes up with that very, very, very nicely. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Um yeah, I also like that you get to hear, especially in that one, a not Steve Hanley bass part that is a fall bass part, if that makes sense. It's something that Steve Hanley probably wouldn't play, but it has a Steve Hanley kind of signature on it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he would play it that high, but it has that
Yeah.
It's cool. It's very nice. It's very nice. Let's get into a couple last tracks here. Let's go to the demo version of Green Eye Loco Man, which is it's called Iodio, and let's just see how this one sounds.
Future and Fury. Gassy boiler like that. Set up Grammatisa. Gassy boiler.
I was stood on the beat. All the tops hit the wave. I felt good in my hood. It was the night of the housemates. Night of the housemates. I felt good in my red hood. I felt so good in my red hood. Tin bottom, sea bottom came out, serpentine in a marble sepulchre, chasing me up the beach. I said goodbye to my boyhood. I said goodbye to my green hood and the red hood and the green. The wave of fantasy crashed against crashing into the rocks of reality. Red last path. Your serpentine scene came out of the sea and told me I felt so good in my green hood. It was the night of the roommates. The wave of fantasies crashing into the rocks of reality. Behind me, the sea is in your dreams, is in the closed dreams of your dress, sense everywhere chopped off. Usually alone, as possible, Scottish style thriller, 10 hacks it over, never roll. And the skylights lit up on the skylights lit up on the serpentine came out of the sea. The waves crashing behind me. She is 16 and the dreams of the 10 best Britons coming out of the sea. Going up on the rocks, rock, shock, Blackpool rock, shock. Usually as possible, Scottish. Fish cop, black quiet milk. Fish cop, Blackside Mill. She is 16. 16, not serpentine. It looks like a wild octopus 8. I turned away from beach and went off the sand. This trouble.
Fury, Gaspola Sarà Grammatina, Instead.
How good is that?
I mean, now we're taking you and I into the future
Yeah, that's
because
right.
we're not there yet.
I know, that's why it's
We
fun.
haven't got there yet.
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna be sad when I listen to the real Green-Eyed Loco Man, and I'm like, well, it's not
Mhm.
that. It's not Idiot.
I know that's the fun part, and because we are both super psyched to go into the early 2000s and get into that where you and I kind of are both like aligned where we know that the fall kind of gets their groove back in some regard, and I think it's seen there with a little bit of fresh. That one is kind of fun because the first couple times I listened to it, I said, "Is that Mark singing? Is that Mark's voice?" Because his voice has changed so much, and I honestly thought it was John Cooper Clarke. Like, and I mean, and it's not that far off because he's a Manchester dude too, right? But I was just like, man, his voice is so different. It's so different in a cool way, in a cool way that actually fits that dynamic of that song so well.
Yeah, I mean that album does have 4 vocals. So
Yeah.
this is off the real new Fall LP. Marky
Country
Smith,
on the Click.
Ben Pritchard is on vocals, Dave Milner is on vocals, and
Mm,
Elaine is on vocals. So could have been
yeah.
a little mix.
I was just recently reading about, I think an interview with Martin Brama where he was talking about in the early days of the fall how they didn't want to like smoke pot and smoke weed and because they thought it was like the hippie lifestyle and sitting around all day and not doing anything, and they were also so anti-hippie because they were anti basically like the student because they were surrounded by college students all the time because I guess Manchester at the time and probably currently is just like a epicenter for like universities and colleges and things like that. So they had students all around them, and that was not their vibe. That was not their scene. And so all these students are just like, partaking in that. And so they also had, the Hey Student song in the Hey Fascist is basically based around some of that context. But I thought it was kind of interesting because then they went into the psychedelic drug realm and they were like they found the mushrooms in the park and they were doing the psilocybin mushrooms all the time and then going to the pub and doing that. And I think that gets maybe passed up a lot as far as putting some of the fall sound into context because I think the fall music is way more psychedelic than it gets credit for. It's just it's just there. It's just an underlying wavelength. Even I mean, Mark's lyrics are obviously highly psychedelic, even though they're based in reality settings. They're obscured by this psychedelia of being off a little bit or being a little bit paranoid because of it and things that are going along that are just completely normal in like quote unquote everyday day-to-day life but are seen through like a psychedelic prism lens that they are taken into a cool story because they are seen a different way.
Yeah, and even with the repetition too, like it helps that the kind of trip
Oh yeah.
the kind of trip move on. You're kind of boom 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 boom. Okay, I'm on the train. Like
Hmm.
you feel it bouncing down the tracks as you're going on your own little trip while you're experiencing it.
just because the guitars don't have like a heavily affected reverb and like heavy delay and reverb on the vocals and things like that. The fall obviously do that sometimes, but not a lot. But because it doesn't have that, I think it doesn't get the credit for being so out there in the psychedelic in the world that
Yeah,
they could
it
tap
doesn't
into.
fall into that category, right?
Mm-mm.
Like you're not getting the stoner trippy dudes. Oh yeah, like yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that, man. Let's put on some fall.
Let's listen to the fall and trip our fucking balls off one. And
And
actually, that brings up a good thing. Yeah, if you have an experience where you are tripping and listening to fall music, please let us know. Please write us like your experience because that is something we are very highly, highly interested in hearing about. What was going on? What was the setting? How did it go? That's
sh
all cool.
should we try to replicate it? Was it
Should
worth the
we?
while?
Should we try to replicate it on an episode? Where do we need to go? Where do we need to be looking at?
Dude, you
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed this journey through these fall demos and outtakes. We only got up to 2002. If anyone else has knowledge of other demos, studio outtakes, things that are just fall head things that we would be interested in, please let us know. That's the way we got on this track, and let's keep going down this track because I'm all for it. I know Steve, you're all for it.
I am. Let's go. I want to listen to more. Should we carry out these folks with a little dramatic
Yes,
expose? Let them.
that yes, that is a great idea. That's a perfect idea. So we're gonna go out on a track called Dramatic. It's from the Country on the Click Real New Fall LP. It's in maybe a studio outtake. It's just an outtake, and this one I've been listening to this one the most out of all of these. I just hope you all enjoy it as much as us. Let's just go out on this one dramatic. And until next time, we are the fall.
We are the best.